Hello, everyone. Welcome to the News Browse News broadcast. A new report from the Senate Committee on National Defense and Security, covered by Global News, warns that Russian disinformation presents an urgent and growing threat to Canada's national security, democratic institutions, and social cohesion. The report, which stems from a years-long study, concludes that Canada's current capacity to counter these malicious online activities is not keeping pace with their rapid spread. The rise of generative artificial intelligence and the unregulated nature of social media platforms are identified as key factors accelerating the exposure of Canadians to Russian false narratives. Witnesses highlighted concerns about content specifically designed to weaken support for Ukraine and NATO, as well as disinformation targeting Canadian military and political figures, leading to increased polarization and violent extremism against Ukrainian and minority communities. Data suggests a majority of Canadians are encountering pro-Kremlin messaging online. The report makes 10 recommendations, including advocating for a whole-of-government approach with a strategic plan and annual parliamentary reports. It also calls for a comprehensive, whole-of-society response involving all levels of government, community groups, civil society, and the private sector, enhanced public transparency on disinformation campaigns, new funding for anti-Ukraine content initiatives, an independent expert panel to review Canada's strategy, and the use of AI-based tools for monitoring and responding to foreign disinformation are also urged. Bank of Canada Governor Tiff Macklem stated he is encouraged by the federal government's initiatives to diversify the economy and build resilience against increasing global trade shocks. According to City News Everywhere, the central bank recently held its benchmark interest rate at 2.25% for the fourth consecutive decision. Macklem indicated that Ottawa's latest fiscal update is expected to have minimal impact on the bank's inflation forecasts. He highlighted ongoing risks such as the energy price spike from the war in Iran and the upcoming review of the Canada-US-Mexico trade agreement, which could influence future rate decisions. While acknowledging the limitations of monetary policy for structural transitions, Macklem expressed optimism about the renewed momentum in addressing long-standing economic vulnerabilities like over-reliance on U.S. exports, inter-provincial trade barriers, and slow regulatory approvals for foreign investment. He emphasized the importance of a determined plan and consistent execution to achieve these long-term economic goals. CTV News reports that the Royal Conservatory of Music in Toronto is launching an independent investigation into historical sexual abuse allegations. These allegations date back to the 1970s and 1980s, primarily involving students who were children and young adults at the time. The decision comes after survivors publicly shared their experiences, prompting the conservatory to conduct an internal review. The Institute plans to examine additional historical records and bring in external experts to assist with the investigation. One prominent allegation mentioned in the Toronto Star is against Boris Berlin, a renowned pianist and Order of Canada recipient who passed away in 2001, accused by former student Luciana Lookman and another woman. Tim Price, chair of the RCM's board, stated that the institution is devastated by the revelations, and Vice Chair Rayla Mayhal emphasized their commitment to systemic change and providing answers to survivors. Acknowledging their initial response may have seemed slow, the investigation will also involve communication with the University of Toronto, which operated the RCM before 1991. The conservatory reiterated its zero-tolerance policy against harassment, abuse, and misconduct, along with regular policy reviews. Prince Edward Island's progressive conservatives have abandoned a controversial bill that sought to relax conflict of interest rules, a move welcomed by the opposition. The bill, introduced by MLA Brendan Curran, aimed to allow lobster fishers to serve in cabinet, addressing a conflict that forced former Transportation Minister Sidney McQueen to resign due to federal fishing regulations requiring him to operate his own boat. Critics, including New Brunswick's Integrity Commissioner, argued the changes would significantly weaken PEI's Ethics Act. Curran stated the withdrawal was due to concerns raised and a desire to do this right, but he remains committed to finding a future solution for fishers in cabinet. This report is from the Canadian Press. Global News reports that Health Canada has issued a recall for the Build-A-Bear Workshop Heartwarming Hugs Bear 2 due to a potential choking hazard. The weighted plush bear features a side pouch filled with 2.5 pounds of ceramic beads, which can be heated or cooled. The issue arises when the zipper slider on this pouch detaches from the neck seam, creating a small parts hazard, particularly for children 3 years and older. Build-A-Bear sold 519 units of the affected product in Canada and 10,199 units in the United States between January and March. As of April 8th, no incidents or injuries have been reported in Canada or the U.S., but the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission noted reports of zipper detachment in the United Kingdom. Consumers are advised to immediately stop using the recalled bear and return it to a local Build-A-Bear Workshop store. They can receive a refund in the original form of payment with a receipt or a gift card for the purchase price without one. Further information and options for a free return label are available on the Build-A-Bear website. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.